the movie starts with a 13-year-old girl named Ambo. Ambo imagines herself to be an extraordinary hunter, unmatched in her village, Kandamo. But of course, this isn't true, and I'll prove it to you right now. Look at her standing by her favorite tree, talking to it, and everything seems fine. But then, she'll make a decision she'll regret. She decides to prove to herself and to us that she's the best hunter. So, she sets a trap for a bird to catch it. However, she fails and ends up falling into her own trap. Didn't I tell you she'd regret it? To make matters worse, the bird comes along and gives her a mocking wink, as if to gloat over her misfortune. Let's leave Ambo to reflect on her situation and turn to the village chief and his daughter Zumi. The chief is very upset because his village is cursed, causing the villagers to either die or fall ill. He decides to relinquish his leadership of the village to his daughter Zumi because he's old and tired and can no longer bear the responsibility. He asks her to save their village from the curse, but Zumi is scared and hesitant because the responsibility is too great for her. However, a woman named Connie encourages her, telling her she's capable and courageous enough to handle it. Meanwhile, Ambo is still hanging and doesn't know how to get down. And since she's the best hunter, as you all know, she can't even aim properly at the rope to free herself. At that moment, a man named Atok comes along, so she asks him to help her get down so she can make it to Zumi's inauguration ceremony, because Zumi would be upset if she missed it. But he doesn't respond, leaves a knife near her, but just out of her reach, and walks away. It's as if he's challenging her to free herself, and she struggles to reach the knife, but can't manage it. At the same time, Zumi is nervous because Ambo isn't by her side, as she considers Ambo like a sister. But Connie reassures her, saying that Ambo will surely come and stand by her side at the ceremony. Zumi then says that Ambo loves her and considers her like a mother because she raised her, and she even calls her Mama Connie. And let's return to Ambo, who is still trying to free herself. Finally, salvation comes in the form of two friends, Dilu and Baka, who resemble Timon and Pumbaa in appearance and wit. They tell her that they are spirit guides and have come to help her assist Zumi in saving Kandamo from the curse that plagues it. Naturally, Ambo doesn't believe them at first, thinking she's hallucinating from being upside down for so long. But when they free her, she can't believe they are real. Then she takes them and rushes to the ceremony. The ceremony has already started, and Zumi is upset because Ambo is late. Then her father places the royal necklace on Zumi, officially making her the leader of Kandamo. Ambo then arrives just in time and tells Zumi she has brought her a wonderful gift, 2 spirit guides who will help them lift the curse on the village. And when she asks them to come in so she can introduce them to Zumi and the villagers, they embarrass her by not entering, as the ground splits open in front of them due to the evil spirits, scaring them away. As a result, Ambo is humiliated in front of Zumi and the villagers, who laugh at her, so she runs to her favorite tree and cries. Then Dil and Baka come to her, and she angrily scolds them for embarrassing her in front of everyone. But they explain what happened and tell her that the Dodge demon Yakurona is behind it, and inform her that they now have a chance to defeat him and heal the village from the curse through a deep root in the jungle. Unfortunately, they don't know its location or appearance, but know someone who does. The giant tortoise will tell Mama, so Ambo is excited and runs to tell Zumi, but Zumi gets upset with her, feeling abandoned at the time when she needs her most. But Ambo tries to explain that she's not leaving her, but wants to save the village from the curse. But Zumi doesn't believe her, saying that if such roots existed, their shamans would have found them. Amble argues that they couldn't find them because they don't have spirit guides like hers. So Zumi gets angry and forbids Amble from leaving the village and walks away. Amble, feeling sad, tells Mama Kuni what happened and how Zumi doesn't believe her. Mama Kuni comforts her, saying it's time to tell her about her mother, Lizini, who was the most skilled and beautiful hunter in the village. She tells Amble that she once dreamed of her mother, who revealed Amble's location under the tree she loves, and made her promise to care for and love Amble, and tells Amble that she resembles her mother greatly because she too could see the spirit world, and that she promised her mother to tell Amble her story if the spirits ever appear to her. So Amble confirms that they have appeared, but she feels like they are crazy. But Mama Kuni tells her to sleep now and promises to tell her more about her mother tomorrow. Then she leaves, and the evil spirits have seen all this. The next day, Amble wakes up and rushes to Zumi, waking her up and taking her to Mama Kuni to hear the story about her mother and the spirits. But when they get there, they find Mama Kuni dead. Amble is deeply saddened and starts crying. At this moment, Atuk arrives and sees her, realizing that her death isn't a coincidence, but a result of the curse. He blames Amble and the evil spirits that appeared to her for the death, but Amble insists that the spirits are good and looks at Zumi and asks if she believes her, but Zumi doesn't respond, making Amble feel even worse. So Amble leaves upset. Then Atok tells Zumi that Amble was born from an evil spirit and is the reason for the curse. But Zumi argues that if that were true, her father wouldn't have allowed Amble to be her close friend. Atok dismisses this, calling her father blind for making a child like her the village leader. Zumi retorts that she might be a child, but she's not stupid. Atok then suggests that Zumi has a chance to bring health and happiness back to the village and make her father proud by letting him capture Amble and confront her evil to lift the curse. But Zumi refuses and prevents him. However, Atok insists and goes off to find Amble himself, returning to Amble, who runs to her favorite tree and tells it that Mama Kuni died before telling her about her mother. Just then, a small tortoise appears, and Amble cleverly realizes that this is a sign to look for the giant tortoise, Motelo Mama, who can tell her where to find the root that will heal the village. So, she sets off to find Dilo and Baka to help her, and when they arrive, she tells them about Mama Kuni's death and cries. Meanwhile, Zumi and the villagers bid farewell to Mama Kuni. After the farewell, Zumi tells her father that Atok went to find Amble, so her father instructs her to take 2 men with her and find Amble before Atok does. She listens to her father and goes off to find Amble, who is still with Dil and Baka, asks for their help to find Mutelu Mama, so they can get the roots and save the village. After a brief, intense 5-second discussion, they agree and set off on their quest. Along the way, they see black smoke, and Dilo and Baka tell Amble they need to avoid it, as it might be connected to Yaku Rona. Amble, however, feels the smoke calling her, and heads toward it. Reluctantly, Dilo and Baka follow her, but soon encounter ghost-like smoke figures that scare them away. They run away, believing in wisdom of retreating, but Amble climbs a tall tree and sees many workers digging and blowing up mountains. Then a man approaches her, his eyes literally turning red, trying to control her. Just then, Dilo and Baka arrive and save her in the nick of time. It turns out they had a good reason for running away earlier. Ghosts then emerge from the man, and they all run towards the river in fear. The ghosts, however, are afraid of the water and retreat. Amble notices this and realizes that the ghosts are scared of the water, likely because Mutelu Mama, who lives in the water, is nearby. So, she goes to find Mutelu Mama, leaving Dilo and Baka behind. says she has to find the tortoise herself. Actually, she didn't leave them willingly. They abandoned her out of fear. And let's go to Atta, who is still searching for Amble, and he eventually finds her and tells her about a time he went hunting with a woman who was the fastest and best hunter and knew the jungle better than anyone. Amber realizes he's talking about her mother, Lizeni. Atak is surprised that Amber knows her and admits that he loved her mother very much, but she left him for someone else. And when Amber tries to find out who the person was, Atak refuses to say, emphasizing that his priority now is to lift the curse. Suddenly, the tree they are on starts to move, causing Atak to fall and pass out, while Amber falls into the river. And when Amber wakes up, she finds a small tortoise next to her and follows it to a beautiful place. The rocks around her starts to break, revealing the giant tortoise. Mutelo Mama. So Amber introduces herself, saying she's Lizeni's daughter. Mutelo Mama warmly welcomes her and tells her that she knew her mother and that Amber resembles her greatly. Amber is surprised that everyone seems to know her mother except her, but Mutelo Mama reassures her, saying that she knows her mother better than anyone else, and asks Amber to tell her about the tree she loves. Amber is astonished that Mutelo Mama knows about the tree and explains that she found it when she was a little girl and has shared all her secrets with it, feeling her mother's spirit lives in the tree. Mutelo Mama then reveals that her mother's tree root is the root Amber has been searching for. So Amber cries, expressing her fear of the jungle and the Akurona, feeling like a mere child. However, Mutelo Mama encourages her, telling her she's the only one who can save the village and that her mother's tree is sacred, and tells Amber that the roots must be cut with a sacred knife made from moonstone. Then she takes Amber on her back and shows her the moon volcano where she needs to go to find the moonstone, and tells Amber that the guardian of the place is a sloth and advises her to bring a nice gift to win him over because he's a bit groomy. So Amber sets up for the moon volcano. Meanwhile, Atok wakes up to see the man who appeared to Amber standing in front of him. While on her way, Amber encounters Delo and Vaka again. They show her a tree to bring it to the sloth as a gift. They cut down the tree, place it on a cord, and tell her to have a safe journey, insisting they accompany her to the moon volcano, despite their initial reluctance due to Amber's threats of telling Mutelo Mama about their cowardice. Back to Zumi, who is still searching for Amber. She encounters Ato, who tells her he has given up on finding Amber, and introduces her to Dewitt. And when she asks Dewitt why he is in the jungle, he says he's a botanist studying rare plants to make medicines for treating certain diseases. So Zumi asks if these medicines could heal her father, and Dewitt confirms they could. So she asks him to come with her to the village and save her father. Dewitt agrees, but on the condition that she shows him the place from which she brought the gold used to make the beautiful necklace she's wearing. And Zumi agrees, but insists he heal her father first, and they head to the village. Let's go back to Amber, who finally reaches the moon volcano. The sloth appears, and Amber introduces herself, Delo, and Vaka, explaining that Mutelo Mama sent them to get a moonstone. So the sloth says he has plenty of them at the top of the mountain, and tells her to climb up and take what she needs. But Amber says she can't climb alone and asks for his help. He loves saying he hasn't helped anyone in ages. She then shows him the tree, so he gets excited and gives her a moonstone he had hidden nearby. Amber then asks him how to carve it into a knife, so he takes it from her and shapes it into a knife for her. He then happily eats from the tree while they leave. Then Amber goes to her mother's tree and meets Zumi. They hug, and Zumi takes Amber to her home. telling her that her father is starting to recover, thanks to Dr. Dewitt. And Abel meets Dewitt, but gets scared, claiming he's the Corona in disguise. But Zumi doesn't believe her, and gets frustrated with Abel's talk about spirits and ghosts. So Abel feels hurt, and says maybe the people are right, and that she doesn't belong there. So Zumi tells her that if she leaves now, she shouldn't come back. But Abel leaves and goes to her house. Then Dewitt goes to her and says he feels like he knows her. But Abel insists he doesn't and walks away. At that moment, a pair of glasses falls from Dillo, who was watching them, and when Dewitt sees it, his eyes turn red. Then Atok enters and sees his eyes. So he realizes Dewitt is Yakurona. So Dewitt tries to kill him, but Atok escapes and goes to Abel at her mother's tree and tells her that Dewitt is the evil spirit, not her. But Abel says she knows and introduces her to Dilu and Vaka. Then Dewitt goes to Zumi's father and demands to know where the gold is. And when he refuses out of fear, Dewitt gets angry, reveals his true form, and takes control of them. Let's go back to Abel, who agrees with Atok to defeat Yakurona. They place the knife in the tree, and her mother's spirit emerges. Atok recognizes her because he used to love her. Then Abel's mother hugs her and asks about the golden tipped arrow. So Dil and Vaka give it to her, explaining they made it without knowing why. Lizini tells them she whispered the instructions to them. Then she takes the arrow and gives it to Abel, telling her it's ready. Then Abel runs to Zumi, who is being controlled by Dewitt, and all the village people are gathered. And Zumi announced that Dewitt cured her father and lifted the curse. So the village's gold now belongs to him. She claims his men will come to mine the gold, and everyone must obey him. But Lizini interrupts and demands they leave the village, and Dewitt recognizes her and introduces himself as the king of gold. But she reveals she truly knows him, calling him by his real name, Will, which enrages him. Lizini reminds the villagers of his story, how she saved him and brought him to the village, where he was rejected for being an outsider. Despite this, they fell in love, but Yakurona took control of him. Then she drops a bombshell. Will is Abel's father, but Dewitt denies it and transforms into Yakurona, kidnapping Zumi and placing her on a giant machine. Abel must save the village, but hesitates because Yakurona is her father. But her mother encourages her, saying she will free her father. So Abel shoots the glowing arrow, striking Yakurona and killing him, saving Zumi and ending the curse. Then a man they don't recognize appears, but Lizini identifies him as Will, Abel's father, who had been under Yakurona's control. Del then returns Will's long-lost glasses, and Will apologizes to Abel, saying they can't stay with her, as they don't belong to this world, and asks Atok to take care of Abel like a father, and Atok agrees. Then they say goodbye and disappear, and they rejoice, finally free from the curse, and everyone hugs. And that's how the movie ends. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for the next movie.